A stockpile of military vehicles were recently discovered occupying a secluded commercial property on the outskirts of Las Vegas, at the address of 5750 Sky Point Drive. It doesn't seem as if the Humvees and other military-grade vehicles are for sale, even though they are stationed at a former car dealership that has been stripped of its business logo and signs. It would appear as if the equipment is deliberately being hidden from the public on this secluded property surrounded by barbed wire fences. The front of the building, which can be seen while driving north on Interstate 95 while departing from Vegas, is littered with pedestrian vehicles. After closer investigation, it was clear that the former United Dodge dealership is some sort of military station, judging from the soldiers on the property all dressed and outfitted in army fatigues. However, there is no clear indication or signage posted certifying that it is a United States military base. One 18-year-old boy named Jonathan, who lives in the area, proclaimed the military has been there for 6 months now. His friends added, "We think it's a secret undercover operation or military base."
Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 5 for today, for Wednesday, July 31st, 2013. I'll have 6 videos, so I got this one and one more left, so check them out. This video is fake car dealership turns into a military base in Las Vegas. This individual is somehow able to post this. I'll see how far I actually get. You know, I got a disclaimer and everything for fair use, but we'll see, right? Alright, Warrior Cops, the militarization of American police forces. You can go in there and type that in and you'll find the article from Occupied Corporatism. I like to give a brief kind of summary overview of what's going on, kind of a pulse. And but I don't cover the entire article if you're new to GGN. So I used to provide all the links, but now I just I don't do it because it's just too much. It's way too much work and it's too much on my wrists and stuff. So and it doesn't take too long. You know what I mean? I do all this here, so just type it in the headline, man. It takes 2 seconds if you really like something. The line between police officer and soldier has been becoming more and more blurry since the 1960s, when responses to perceived threats from local law enforcement at the state level began to reflect military technical training, or MTT. Corporations like Solutions Group International, SGI, offer local police departments training in MTT to law enforcement, military, and government and private sector organizations. They've developed the mindset that their community is a battlefield and that the advent and the use of military-grade weapons by police officers exacerbates the situation. They're armed with M16s, armored vehicles, and SWAT team gear on a daily basis. The police officers, or revenue collectors, are posing a measurable threat to American liberties. Special Weapons and Tactics, or SWAT, I never knew that's what it meant, but it's learn something new every day. Is specialized training police officers may be given for mimicking of special forces in the military. This includes training in how to break into residences with battering rams using a flashbang grenades designed to blind and deafen targets, clear a building, and subdue residents as quickly as possible. Over 40 years ago, SWAT teams were employed in LA, and by 1975 there was an estimated 500 teams in LA, I guess the LPDs across the nation. In 2012 there was there were thousands accounted for. SWAT teams' new face of police agencies, militarization of law enforcement going full steam ahead. So a key distinction between the U.S. and other nations, even relatively free nations, long has been American restrictions on domestic use of the military for police actions, law enforcement, and keeping things under control. However, the local police officers or sheriff's deputies equipped with night vision goggles, laser scope rifles, electronic eavesdropping equipment, and body armor, and comes up a citizen's driveway in a military-type personal carrier with shield windows, oversized wheels, the prohibitions seem to lose some of their teeth, talking about martial law. Since 1878, with the passage of Posse Comitatus Act, it has long been established a legal principle that the federal government is not allowed to use military to enforce federal state laws. But in recent years, the law has modified or been modified to allow the president to deploy federal troops to enforce the law. Two of the most notable cases are President Dwight Eisenhower's decision to send federal troops into Little Rock, Arkansas to enforce desegregation, and the 1992 LA riots. It's interesting. They are both race issues. UK police officers in hot water for strip searching drunk woman and leaving her naked in a cell. 6 revenue collectors who forcibly stripped an intoxicated 22-year-old woman left her naked in a police cell for 30 minutes should face disciplinary action. I gotta go over this article again, this story, because this is just unbelievable. Police sergeants arrested after allegedly robbing men in Detroit. This came out updated yesterday. Good Samaritan snapped photos of what appeared to be two men impersonating police officers involved in a pistol whipping and robbery outside the Citgo gas station on Detroit's east side on July 21st. So Fox 2 aired the photos, and even more disturbing picture developed. Several unidentified police officers were working this particular robbery case recognized one of the suspects in the photographs as being a member of the Detroit Police Department. Now under arrest are two police sergeants, a 47-year-old and 20-year veteran of the Detroit Police Department, and his 42-year-old buddy from the police academy who was a former DPD cop and 17-year veteran of the St. Clair Shores Police Department. The latter recently received the Distinguished Service Award. In fact, they were police officers, just not working on duty at the time. It is alleged the two sergeants pulled up in a black pickup, got out of the truck with their guns drawn and their badges around their necks, detained two young men in their early 20s, searched them and pistol whipped one of them, stealing his wallet and cell phone. The other alleged victim told police that they also stole his money. Americans believe anti-terror programs go too far, but they support them anyways. So Americans, I think that most of these polls are a part of engineered consent. So Americans believe that government surveillance programs collect far more information than even the widely reported recent leaks of classified data indicate, and that they increasingly worry that the scope of anti-terror programs have endangered civil liberties. So, but despite those concerns, Americans still narrowly approve of the government's collection of telephone and internet data as part of the anti-terrorism efforts, with 50% approving and 44% disapproving, according to Pew Research. It's no surprise we saw this before. NSA spying American support security over privacy. So decades of ruler-led mass media, I'd say Zionist-run media, has brainwashed and damaged the American psyche forever. In America, there used to be a healthy spirit of rebellion that gave America its individuality, its global shine. Today, it's no longer the dominant feature of the culture. It's been replaced by docile, obedient populace that responds to fear rather than purpose. So this individual woke up in the morning to Chuck Todd on the mainstream media channel MSNBC, reporting that over 60% of Americans support NSA spying on them. They cited that security against future terrorism is well worth the complete loss of their privacy. I wish they could actually throw in these polls here, part of the poll, like a question. Do you believe that the United States government is actually funding terrorism, and see how much they actually know about that? Then they would be so worried about terrorists coming to get them and giving up their rights, right? Or privileges, really, is what it is. New Hampshire police view peaceful libertarian and Occupy activists as terrorists. I've covered this many times, so it should not be a surprise to my viewers here. So police in New Hampshire have applied for a grant to acquire almost $300,000 of armored vehicles from a DHS to combat domestic terrorism. According to their application, they cited active threats from domestic terror groups like Free State Project and Occupy New Hampshire as a primary reason for requiring this military equipment. The threat is real and here. Several homegrown clusters that are anti-government and pose problems for law enforcement agencies. The reality is that when they say these anti-government groups, they're talking about groups that actually they're not anti-government. They're anti-corrupt government. They're anti irresponsible or unaccountable government. These are people that believe in the Constitution and are, quote, patriots. Then you have people that are anarchists that aren't about violent overthrowing the government. You have a very small minority that use violence, but the majority of the time they're actually cops dressed up with bandanas like those ones in Detroit that were robbing people. They're called agent provocateurs. They'll be dressed in black and they'll be torching property and destroying things, creating chaos. Of course, so then the news media can catch wind of it. The cops can say, well, now the protest has turned violent. This peaceful protest of people has turned violent. And it's really just cops posing as anarchists. So that's what you got right there. Because when I see this word anti-government, that means someone that's actually not for having a government, which would be an anarchist, and most anarchists aren't like that, the violent type. But it scares people, you know, it really does, it scares people. So Monsanto hires infamous mercenary firm Blackwater to track activists around the world from May 26. So apparently Monsanto and the security firm Blackwater are in bed together, described by blogger Randy Onata as a death tech firm who heads a hit squad. At this point, you might be wondering what in the world a GMC giant needs with services of a shadow army. It appears the corporation found it necessary to contract with Blackwater in order to collect intelligence on anti-Monsanto activists as well as infiltrate their ranks. So, like I said, watch that movie if you haven't seen it with Matt Damon called Promised Land, I believe. And, yeah, you'll see. But, yeah, they don't like the anti-fracking people. They treat them as insurgents. They've gone to the military to basically figure out how to stop these protesters. Arkansas school, and they use PSYOPs, that they're talking about using psychological operations. Arkansas school district buying guns for 20 teachers and staff. So they respond to last year's tragic school shooting in Connecticut by arming more than 20 teachers and employees. The Clarksville school district was providing each participant with $1,100 to purchase a firearm and a holster. So they also included $50,000 for ammunition and training for the Nighthawk Custom Training Academy. That's a big one. The assistant principal told the AP, I was nervous to start, but once I started, I was going through what they had taught us, and it just took over. We think educators should be in the business of educating students, not carrying a weapon, says Arkansas Education Association President Donna Morey, who probably has a doctoral degree and never taught a day in her life. So, and says Sherry Womack is taking her son out of the Clarksville School District for his 8th grade year because she believes teachers should not be making life or death decisions. I think revenue collectors are trained to make those decisions, not teachers. Yep. Now, see, they trust the police state, they trust the system. Really, you shouldn't have your children in a brainwashing facility or re-education camp known as school. Like I said before, education is there to stomp out individuality, it's there to stomp out any kind of resistance, and it's there to stomp out, I guess you could put it as natural-born leaders that are kind of moral people that want to help other people and aren't going to sit there and watch other people get stomped on, and allows sociopaths and other types of people to basically excel. The origins of the American public education system, Horace Mann and the Prussian model of obedience. Pause this video, type that in, watch it if you don't know. So the model of free and compulsory education was designed by the Prussian emperor in order to generate obedient workers. It's about obedient workers, that's the main thing, and soldiers who would not question his authority. GCSE results influenced by children's genes and not teaching, so children's exam results are largely a product of their genes and not standards of teaching in schools, according to a new study that could have a major bearing on future education policy. You'll never guess what Americans consider the least concerning U.S. problem. The economy in general, 23%, followed by unemployment, jobs, 19%, healthcare, 11%, government politics and politicians, 10%. These are all things, federal deficit, they have really no control over, right? No control over any of those things, but they are concerned about them because they're affected. What they care about the least, immigration, poor leadership, corruption, and ethics, moral, religious, family decline. And the least is education. So the author from this Fool.com article says, what's wrong with America? Why, oh why is education dead last among the problems that we need to address? So remember, education. See, their theory is you improve education and you essentially eradicate half the problems in the country, right? Right, you basically design good, obedient workers and good, obedient soldiers to maintain the complex. It's funny, too, because those that are in manufacturing jobs, that do have those high-tech education jobs, they're actually training people in China to replace their jobs. So that's what it's for, because we don't really manufacture as much. We're just here for retail and sales and stuff like that. The recent immigration bill is to import foreigners who are highly trained in medicine and stuff like that. Don't do anything to train actual national Americans to do this. Toronto School Board refuses to say why it reinstated a teacher who posted graphic gay sex brochures. So Posted graphic sex pamphlets in his classroom. 7th to 8th grade teacher removed from class, but now is reinstated. And we'll leave off with this, but, you know, why did they do it? Well, because there was media light on it. You know, just like the graphic porn site, education site. They'll put it back up once people lose wind of it. Thank you.